Well, good evening or good morning, depending on where you are, and welcome to Best Perspective, ULTI.TV's new talk show, guest show, What's Current show. We're going to test things out and see how we go. We got a guest every month, and we're going to talk about what's current. I'm Steph Pazzo. My boy Noah Brinkworth in the back producing. He'll be popping in and out when we need him. And we're going to start with him popped in, and we're going to talk a little bit before we introduce this episode's guest. Talk a little bit about what's been happening in Ultimate. Noah, how you doing?
I'm doing very good, Steph. So are we keeping the guest a secret? I mean, it's definitely in the title of the video.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That guest is very obvious now. So Tom Rogacki, the Gak. If you haven't heard of him, you've been playing Ultimate with your head tucked in the ground. One of the all-time greats, Australian from Melbourne, and we're looking forward to hearing what he's got to say. But until he gets there, why don't you and I scratch the surface here about what's been happening? What's at the top of the list, Noah?
Well, we both just got back from the European Indoor Championship, Steph. That was absolutely fantastic event. One really fantastic game, the women's final, that we've tried to put around and make sure that everyone gets their eyes on some of the crazy plays we saw, especially at the back end of that game. How was your time in Herning, Steph? How
Yeah,
did you enjoy
it was awesome. I mean, it was completely in a gymnasium. The sports center there is a heck of a facility. Maybe thankful, based on where we were in Herning. It was nice to be indoors. But yeah, I mean, the ultimate was crazy. The gym was a great venue, a little broadcast booth, so good to just shoot and produce from there. And the ultimate was sensational. I love you put together the best 7 minutes you've ever seen of ultimate, whatever the clickbaity title was. I love that we get some comments. This isn't the best in the world. There's better than this. Sure, it's very, very good ultimate. It was a heated women's final. So if you don't know what we're talking about, go watch Noah's video first, then go back and watch the whole game.
Well, it's very nice of you to say my video stuff. I think that there was some excellent commentary from Hanny, and you were on that broadcast as well, right? With Hanny,
I was indeed.
Final. Just a fantastic game, and we did a great job to bring it to you guys. And yeah, there was some fantastic plays from Sarah Yekland. Vendela Victorson was fantastic. Maya Leno. I won't spoil it if you have been living under a rock, just like those of you not aware of Tom Gak Rogacki. So go watch it.
I mean, Vestman really as well, impressed. But Victorson, wow, that young lady, the lefty, lays out as good as anyone I've seen. Very impressed with what she was doing.
Yeah, and
that was the first time I'd seen her play. But again, maybe my head's under the rock. I didn't watch much indoor over the last couple of years, and then being exposed to what she's doing. Holy dooly!
And we had she made exactly the same play off exactly the same throw twice in a row right at the start.
Yeah, from the same thrower too.
So from the same
exactly the same throw.
We were showing you the replay, and it was like spot the difference here, commentators. Like, what do you even do here? I just had a fantastic time in Herning, and there were some other great games as well. I really enjoyed the Open Semi, watching Otso versus
Gemrigeim, VFL Gemrigeim.
Bad skin. Bonfiglio, he was fantastic. Throwing a really, really nice scuba in that game to finish the game.
Feeling himself.
Ice in the veins. But yeah, I loved being in Herning as well. Denmark was fantastic. Really impressive that Denmark managed. I was there for 4 days. Didn't see the sky once. Incredible work from Denmark to put clouds over the whole country, the whole 4-day period.
They do that well in winter, I guess.
Yeah, it was grey clouds or gymnasium ceilings. But we did have a fantastic meal at Legoland. That was pretty cool.
Nice. But, I went to Copenhagen the next day and did see the sun. Nice. And then it snowed that evening too. So Yeah, a little bit
Yeah, four
crazy
seasons in
going to
Denmark.
Denmark in February.
Let's
So
go
okay, what else do we
across.
got? The indoors was good, cracking stuff. What else is current right now?
Well, I wanted to go across the continent, the big continent of Eurasia. I wanted to go to Japan for the Dream Cup, Steph. Right, kind of one of these as a European, one of those tournaments you hear about. You hear all the big teams to going there to compete, and we'll have all of the big Japanese names: your Buzz Bullets, your Hucks, your Nomadic Tribe, who just beat Buzz Bullets recently. Also coming over New York Empire and San Francisco Fury, allegedly. According to
Mm.
the website, I can't, I haven't been in like Jimmy Mickle's DMs to check.
Yeah,
But
I was having a look at the website too. It's a little bit tough to figure out what some of the numbers mean next to some of the teams. I was like, is that how many times they've been there? I'm not sure
I
exactly.
think
Maybe
it's
there's
how many players they have. But
okay.
yeah.
There we go.
So yeah, I mean, all of the top elite Japanese club teams you know and love, plus the Japanese teams going there as national teams, the cream of the crop of each of those club teams, pairing up and making those rosters of 26 ready for WC this summer, and with facing some elite American competition, and not just like that. New York Pony also went to the Pan American Championships and kind of went with a team of old timers and ringers and mates of mates. Not exactly an elite team, but this team's got Little, it's got Mickle, it's got Garvey and Keegan, and looking at the Fury side as well, I saw an Octavia Payne, lots of other elite players, lots of World Games representation. So this is going to be a crazy tournament. I'm not sure if we're going to get to see any of it coming across.
Typical for Japanese Ultimate. It's very under wraps. You only get to
Yeah,
see very few games there. I don't know if it's intentional that they do that, but it's tough to watch a lot of Japanese Ultimate.
yeah, like maybe some long stream will pop up somewhere. Normally, you find some sort of like 8 hour live stream that someone's uploaded a month after the event. But
Yes, and now
I mean,
that the
I would,
Americans are there, maybe we'll have a sideline Twitch streamer or something. But the Americans,
yeah.
not the first time they've been there either. So let's see what we get, Noah.
I mean, who do you back, Steph? Thinking about the Japanese women's team, a full strength versus like half of the main Fury roster. Who do you think
I
is
mean,
favorites
you're
for that
talking
same match?
Japanese club teams, right? So we're
No,
still
no, no. I'm
talking
talking
about
like the
mud.
national team.
Why is
Like
there a showcase?
no, no, the full national team are going. I believe in all divisions. Definitely an open and mixed. Mixed is the weekend before, on the 2nd, and then open and women's is on the 9th and the 10th. But no,
Yeah,
the
I
Japanese
don't
like
think there's
full
any
national
club
teams.
teams, even the best, one of the best club teams in the world, that should beat the Japanese national team. I mean, Japanese women have been the best in the world not so long ago. 2012, did they do it in 2016?
No, it's the
20,
Americans in
yeah,
2016.
2012 on
Yeah,
home turf. They did it.
but they did get
Uh,
them in 2015. That was pretty recent on the in the U23s back then. That
yeah,
was
and
the
even
first and only time.
U24s just in Nottingham, they were silver medalists and competitive.
Fantastic.
Uh, I can't see a club team, especially a traveling club team, knocking them off at home.
Yeah,
I could be wrong,
and
but I think I back the Japanese national team enough to take those games
I feel the
in the
same
women's
way.
division.
In looking over to the Open division as well, I would back the full strength 26-person roster Japanese Open team versus a very good half of New York Pony. Um, but when you're up against players like Matsuhiro Masuno, one of the other like over 40s players who's still making a big splash in the uh, at the World Championship level. I've got this
Yeah.
shirt on as well. I mean, it's a Seski Discus shirt talking about
Yeah.
old timers making it big at the elite level. This is Naz's shirt that John Kofi gave me, and I thought there was a bit of a theme here of Matsuno. We've got Rogacki, we've got Naz. If you could have one Steph on some sort of team, some sort of super team, who might you take?
Oh God, that's a tough one.
Especially when we're talking to Gak in an hour.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's pretty. It's Gak. I rate him as uh, in the conversation for a goat. I think if he grew up playing in the U.S. and he had more eyes on him and more high profile teammates, he may well have been, in more people's opinion, the goat. I think he would have maybe amassed a few more world championship medals doing it that way. But I think he's a physical menace more so than the other two. He's just bigger, faster. He bids insanely, and maybe not faster than Matsuno, like quickness, but running, like going deep, like he's quick for a big lanky dude. So yeah, I mean, I've played with I played with Gak, I've coached Nas, and I've seen commentated on Matsuno. So I guess I've been up close and personal enough with the three of them, mostly with a bit more with Gak than with Nas than with Matsuno. But yeah, that would if I had to pick, I take Gak, man.
Yeah, I think that's a completely reasonable choice. You reckon in this iteration is Gak moving to the backfield, right, becoming more of that steady handler role as players tend to do as they age, or is he still just a kind of downfield threat as he's always been?
Tough to say. I mean, he's moved around so much, and I can't wait to ask him this. But like, he's moved around division to division. He's been handlers in World Championship campaign. He's been an upfield target. I still remember when his wife coached him. No, not even coached him. Just she was coaching the women's team, but on the sideline in 2012 when he was a master, and now he's gone back to the open division. But be a target, Tom. And that stage, that's what he needed to be. Uh, so yeah, I mean, that all will likely be in the hands of Coach Yui Wang, Coach Yui. I can say that much. I don't know if I've got his last name right, but we'll see how he uses them. But he'll have options. That's the good thing. Like there's a lot you can do with the Gak, even at the ripe old age of 44. I think we'll confirm that with him too.
Hmm. And let's talk about the rest of that field as our final thing before we get on to speaking of Gak. The
Yep.
World Championships. Some people a little worried that we might have a bit of a thinner field than we have in World Championships past. I think most notably Team Belgium Open trying to round up some money to get themselves down to Australia. Like, what do you think about this, Steph? I mean, some people have been calling for European for these events to be held in Europe, especially after we see the Australian mixed teams signing up for Windmill. I hear that's slightly controversial. That
Yeah,
happen
I
at
mean, I don't
all,
think it
but
should be. It's tough economic times right now. It is that is clear, and because of that, the attendance is going to be down, and that sucks for a world championship, especially after COVID. We haven't had one in 8 years since 2016 in London. It's a long gap, and then to have it in Australia is there's a high likelihood that we are going to have a dip in attendance in teams. I mean, not a high likelihood. It's clear. There's a few teams they've extended registration now to try and see if teams can spin the wheel and find ways to get in. You got to hope a team like Belgium just wins the European Championship. I mean, oozing with upcoming and rising talent, and currently not financially viable for them to go as a team. They're trying to, their coach doing a lot of work, PA doing a lot of work, trying to make it happen, trying to find some funds. So, but is it Australia's fault that this timing is so bad? Like, can they really not ever, like, they've always got to be the team to travel. They've always got to be they can't put their hand up and host something in their beautiful country. I mean, I lived there for 10 years in the Gold Coast, and it is magnificent. So it's a tough one. And then the fact that they're going to Windmill, and the Aussies always pre-tour, always before they have a world championship tournament. But like, I mean, yeah, sure, they're saving their money this time, but they're still like a campaign's a campaign to them. If they gotta spend their money that they would have spent going to the championship to get the pregame experience and chiseling, well, so be it. I don't think there should be any controversy there. Maybe, like, I get it. In Europe, there are more national teams. The population density, border
The
density
continent's just
in Europe.
divided more, right? Like there's just
Yeah.
more small
Uh,
countries who can just about put together a team.
yes. So, I mean, I think Europe over the years has gotten more and will continue to get more. But I don't think that the one time it goes to Australia since what W. I mean, there was a World Under 24s there. That was I don't know.
2018.
Yeah, maybe. And then besides that, the WCC when Buzz won, and that's '06 perhaps,
Mm.
a long time ago. We can maybe start looking those up later, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's warranted that they have a Worlds there, and I think it's going to be a great Worlds. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I really hope that when we chat next month, Steph, we'll see that team list come out. Teams will have been signed up by the end of February, which is the deadline,
Mm.
and we'll see all the usual suspects there, and we'll see some of those teams near Australia sign up for the first time as well, and we won't really have to have this conversation about is it as stacked a field as ever. I just hope that everyone is able to make it. So we get on to our main segment, to our interview with the man himself.
I think we should get on to our main segment with the man himself. And so, without further ado, we've talked about him, but Tom Rogacki. And so here he is, our guest on Best Perspective, our first guest, first time we run the show, Tom Rogacki, the GAC. Tommy, how you doing?
I'm super. Thank you for having me on. Great to see you after a little bit of time on the other side of the world.
Yeah, it's been a little while, but yeah, a pleasure to see you as well. And we want to do this show have a little bit of a global appeal. We're operating in Europe a bit more now. ULTI.TV's from Australia, and you get a bit of news in your life in Ultimate right now, so you're current, and we're going to hear a bit about it. But just I want to introduce you with your resume here. World Games,
Sure.
2 silvers. That's as the Crocs. You did it in '05, and then in Cali. What year was Cali?
2013. Yeah. So it's 2013 was
2013. And
Cali.
Dingoes. How many? What Dingoes? You were a Dingo in '08. Is that right, in Vancouver?
No, no. So it's funny. Some of the boys on the team this year, they're sort of asking when you last played Dingoes. Played a lot of Worlds. '08, my second son Finley was born. So Anna and I, my wife, decided not to go that year, which is a shame. Great Vancouver, I believe. But it was '04, believe it or not. So it'll be 20 years since the Dingoes when I suited up this year. Obviously, a few Mondays, Masters,
Jesus.
Crocs in between, but I think I've become famous for jumping around the
And sorry,
divisions.
you did play Dingoes before '04 as well. Your first representation was '96.
Not 96, I was picked, didn't go thanks to financials. Really, at the end, had a car accident and couldn't quite get up, but was picked for the team in Sweden. But '98 was the first time I suited up in Minnesota. So yeah, back then it was only been four
Okay.
years. So yeah, '98, '04. A few clubs in between, a few masters. So yeah, it's been a long
And
time since I've played open worlds, which is super exciting.
yeah, crazy. So Dingoes, of course, for all you watching, is Australia Open national team. You said Mondays. You've jumped around. You were Mondays in London for sure.
Yes.
Is it a one-time Mondays representation?
Yeah, it was again. I mean, I've played with teams for various reasons for barramundi. So all the Australian teams for the viewers like to have a indigenous animal attached to them. So the firetails, which is a bird, is the women's team. Barramundi is a native fish, is a mixed team, and the dingoes is a indigenous wild dog in Australia as well. So we're really trying to take the Australian culture on the road when we can. Pretty proud of our heritage here, as every country is. That's something unique. So yeah, you'll see a lot of Australian players refer to the teams by their, I guess, their historical name. So Barramundis was, again, my wife Anna, who coached me in 2013 and also in the Barramundis. So a few of those trips, as we had young children then, it was pretty good to be able to play with your wife. Although if you asked her, you might want to interview her one day. I'll tell you, she'll probably tell you it's quite painstaking, stressful. I don't think I'm the most coachable player in the world. So apologies to all those coaches that don't have to put up with me over the
Yeah,
years. But again, I come from a vintage
I
Pats
don't know.
where.
I think she's
Go ahead.
yeah, I think she's pretty happy to have you. I managed a Anna coach team with a Tom captaining, and I think at the end of the day, sure, there's probably a couple decisions that get some marital grief amidst them, but I would say globally, it seems to run smoothly.
It is. She's an amazing coach, and you talk about Crocs. She coached the Crocs team, which I didn't go with to the US last year, to another silver medal. So we can't seem to crack gold. She did get gold in her first coaching adventure in 2010 with the under 24 women's. First time I think Australia won a gold there on the international tour. So she's got one over me. She's won a gold to world level. I never have, Pat. So a little bit of ribbing at home from time to time, but she's an amazing coach. And I guess I come from a vintage, and our viewers playing different ages. So for those, I mean, we used to captain coach teams, right? So I think about Jonathan Potts or Jim Garvey, some of the great captains I played under. They were captain coaches, and then you'd work your way up to the leadership, captain your own teams. And now that's something I really see in players today, where at club level, they're captaining and leading their team. They get to an international level, they have a coach, and they struggle to let go. So I think that's something that the sport's still evolving, where you can actually just be a player, rather than. And I think players out there will know they might go, yeah, I'll let someone coach, but if you're still thinking about what it is and not letting go and just being a player, you don't see, Mbappe sitting there for PSG coaching the team. He's leading the team, but he's not coaching. Right, he's letting that go, but he grew up that way. So
Yeah.
I think Ultimate's got a little bit to develop to really be able to play as athletes and not coach, but it's hard because it's a growing sport, and people sort of play in different roles, club versus country. But that's a real gift to be able to play with. We have Yui for the Dingoes this year, first campaign with him, and he's been amazing so far as well.
Excited to hear. I think it's a great transition. I come from the same vintage. The captain coach, the player coach, Reggie Dunlop. The Canadians will know that a hockey reference, of course. But yes, alleviating the players of decision making in big moments beyond anything else is I think a major advantage to being able to do that. So you talked about Anna being one up on you, but having this gold medal, and it segues well to kind of where I wanted to start, and it leads to why are you nominating for Open? Why you nominated, you got selected. Are you 44, Tom? Is that right? Your age?
Yeah, you're
are we
too
giving
kind.
that up?
You're too kind. I am 47 in 2 days' time, Pat. So off to Carolina soon with a dingo.
47.
Yeah, getting there. Not quite John Greenfield vintage. He's in his 50s, still playing around, but yeah, getting up there. I thought it was a stretch when I played Crocs in 13 in my
Yes.
30s, but there's been others, Sarah Wentworth and a few others. I take John Greenfield. It's plenty around. So yeah, certainly not
Yeah,
a
talk
spring
about
chicken
the
anymore.
motivation. I'm
Sure.
Yeah, talking about the
Yeah.
motivation to nominate you, a bunch of silvers on the world stage. Anna's got that gold. You obviously want the gold. Everybody's got it, but there's got to be a bit more than just chasing a medal. Maybe not. Tell us about how you decided to nominate, and a little bit about the process of selection.
Yeah, sure. So look, I mean, obviously love playing sport, and Ultimate's sort of my chosen sport, and I know it's sort of a bit, what's it? Age is a number, as they say, I guess was what I was going to say. So from my perspective, why not put your name in? The motivation originally was World Masters is on in California in November. And so a bunch of guys were saying, let's get fit and get an Australian team for that. And then when it was announced that the World Championships were going to be in the Gold Coast, obviously that's, Queensland local, your old stomping ground, Pats, when you were living down under. So a local, to play worlds in your own country. We had world clubs in Australia in '06, I think it was. That was a great experience to play. And But a world championship is different. You're playing for Australia, not your club, and that was probably big motivation. If it was overseas, perhaps I wouldn't have tried to go again, so to speak. But when it was local, I thought, why not have a go? And the preference for open was somewhat influenced by a couple of old mates, Mike Neild, Gav Moore, Tex. Now there's a bit of a chat group, and they're like, "Come on, let's play." And let's play open. Unfortunately, Mike and Gav decided not to go in the end or try out. Tex did, and I'm happy to say, great motivation to play with him again. I played with him at Crocs. He's a good guy, an Arsenal supporter. So, probably the second eldest dingo in his
Arsenal
30s. So
Jesus.
it does embarrass me. So yeah, just probably friendship to start with, but then also if you do out the process, I really, where I wasn't sure, and I hadn't really told anyone this, Pats, but I emailed after I saw Mike pulled out everybody, I actually emailed the association, say, can I change my preference to mixed? It was like a week out from the first camp, and they said, oh, you can do stuff after, it's too late now, it's locked in. I said, okay, well, better perform. And after sort of the first weekend training camp, playing with some of these unbelievable players that I haven't had the privilege of playing with, Rob Andrews, Cuppers, Laddo, Alex Gamak, and Ashep, all of these guys that those that follow Australian Ultimate will know are absolutely gun players, and some young ones coming through. It's just I went, oh, this is fun, this is good, and been a while since being able to play in that men's division where you really does raise the level, and it got my competitive juices going again. So I reneged that preference, and lucky enough to stay open. The process is we have two selection camps, and our Australian mixed championships in between. So they're all 3 selection events. So had a training camp in Melbourne 2-day. Everyone got together. That was men's, women's, and mixed. So we're picking all 3 teams as Australia. So all the selectors and coaches were there. Then we had Australian mixed championships. We have an open season, a mixed season, and we had one more training camp, and then selections were picked sort of on the eve of Christmas was when the good news came in. It's ironic, Pat. The only other thing I'd say is it's, the last training camp wasn't great. I actually did strain my hamstring a little bit, so I didn't play both days. So that was probably disappointing. But back to full fitness now, happy to report. And that was a bit of kick in the teeth. As you get older, you get typecast. So any soft tissue, he's old. So that's something I'm conscious of, or self-conscious. Yeah. But the first camp, I think I played well, and got MVP or joined MVP at mixed nationals, and we did well for Chile team. So that was nice. I played for how many years now, Pat? 20 plus years. I don't think I ever picked up MVP. So maybe people have a pity on me now, saying, "Oh, he's a bit old. We don't expect much from him anymore." So picking up a couple of medals. So I'm hoping to go into Worlds with people.
He's still not
old.
bad. He's old and over the hill. You've never won an MVP. That's a surprise to me.
I can't remember. Look, I'll be controversial. First episode, I used to have I'll dub him in, Jono Holmes and a few other local Australian players. We used to muck around and say, MVP was always a funny award because he wasn't the best player in the win. He was the most valuable player across. Doesn't matter if you win or lose, he wasn't the game. So inevitably, he was always the best player on the worst team. So we used to always laugh, going, it was sort of award wizard. You didn't win a single game, but you were just this great player on a team that won 3 or 4 points. How valuable were you? You could have had anyone else on there, and there would have been the same result. So not trying to begrudge it now that I'm an MVP winner, but there's a bit of an eye in most other sports. And
was your team that bad?
No, we made quite late. Look,
we did finally win.
No, we were good. We were unlucky. We played a Adelaide team that stacked the Flatto and a few extras, and we beat them in pool play. But that famous thing you see in sport, you win in the pool and then you play them again, and then they just go 5% better, you go 5% worse. But they deserved it. But I felt we could have gone deeper. But long story short, that's probably a problem. MVP should just be 1 MVP per game, And so in Ultimate, it's like everyone gets one. So if you've got a strong player on a weak team, they tend to win it. We used to laugh a little bit about that. So maybe now, I don't know what take of that, Pats. I'm either getting pity or I'm now a strong player on a weak team. But I do hope. I think
I can't see you being a weak player.
We'll see. I do hope my age and where it is. People talk about the past or videos. A few people have said, "Oh, it's great you're going around again," but there's a lot of pride in showing this is. Talked about motivation, playing in Australia, playing with friends, finding new friends, playing at top level. But there is a bit in you to say. A little bit of pride to say I can still do this and show people, or maybe go against the grain. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, so tell us about I guess a lot of it will be in the hands of Yui and the decisions of Yui, but how do you see yourself fitting into this team? I mean, I know you're a player who can play behind the disc. You can be a target. Do you have any indication from the coaches where they're giving up too much to people who will end up being your eventual opposition? But how are you going to be used physically on the field, and then talk about like will you have a leadership role? Like, I mean, your voice is something that I would imagine everybody on that team is going to want to hear from at some stage. But do you know how you're going to be able to implement and inject yourself onto a team like this now that you are kind of the old statesman?
Yeah. Look, there's a lot to unpack in that, Pats, and I guess it's still evolving. We've had one camp together as a group, and later today I fly out to Kauai for Kaimana Classic, so that's a bit of a early season sort of. Let's see where we are. A little bit of bonding. For those that have not been to Hawaii for Kaimana, it's I think 35 years old now. Amazingly fun tournament, but also competitive with some great North American teams coming. And we've got quite a campaign built out from UWI, so we're going to the US Open later in the year. So even though it's a domestic Australia, it's amazing how much travel we're doing as a group. We're actually going to the fields in Gold Coast where we're going to be playing for a training camp with some invitational teams. So it's quite a big campaign, and I say that because there's a lot of preparation and sort of storming, norming to be done. So very little exposure. What I can say, and give us generally speaking, been enjoyed being playing off the O line has been the priority. So that's probably as much as you has shown, which is interesting because the last couple of years I've actually been playing D at local and club level, and trying to then anchor the O on a turnover, but pretty sort of at the moment a short O line. So getting really used to my role there. I guess you mentioned that that's what I'd like to think I add to the team is versatility. Can't see on camera those, but I'm about 6'5", 6'6", in the old skull, so about 196 centimeters. So tallest guy in the team. Probably can't jump as high anymore, Pats, but I hope to bring down a few in the air and make myself dangerous downfield. But obviously, if I'm being marked from behind, I like to think that I can still make some damage with my throws as well. So I think it'll be a bit condition specific. If it's windy, I imagine I'll play more sort of behind the disc handler when I get on. But if it's nice conditions, we've got some unbelievable throwers on that team, and I'd like to think with my big frame, if the body's good, I can do a bit of damage up the field as much as down. I think the difference I see you is, there's better younger versions of me these days. As I said, for those, Rob Andrews is unbelievable performance at the World Games. He's slightly shorter but jumps higher. Great throws, athleticism. So if I can be a bit of a foil for some of the others, Sam McGuckin's unbelievably quick. So I guess people have to play against Australia and go, well, who do we mark? Okay, well, if I can take the best defender, that frees up Rob or Sam. And if not, hopefully I get a second tier defender and can make some damage. So we've got some good versatile options there. And then add Tax, who's pretty wily as well. So we think we've got a pretty potent O-line with versatility, which is going to be important for us, I think. So got to see how that evolves. And, I'm not suggesting I'll be starting 7 in his shape, but I think what Yui has is someone that can, to your point, be pretty versatile. And I'd also love playing zone. My favorite thing over ultimate is I love the game of fishing, playing deep. Just look at the handler, giving 10 meters to my defender, and I get burned every once in a while. But over the years, I reckon I've intercepted more than I've done. So I hope to get a bit of a chance maybe on the D line, particularly in sort of zones if it's windy and just trying to clog up space with my big frame.
Now talk about that's great. That love your expectations there and the potential to be able to implement yourself. Talk about your voice and be okay. First, tell me, youngest guy in the team. How much younger will he be than you? What is the age gap, top to bottom? And I mean, have they nominated captains? Is it something that will happen later? Whether you are a captain or not, like how are you fitting in so far, like with a voice and being able to provide motivationally and inspirationally?
Yeah. Look, I haven't really. I mean, we've played young oldies, and I haven't intentionally avoided the let's count each other's age because it doesn't really help me. And when we do young oldies scrimmage, I just walk the other side of a pitch, knowing I'll be anchoring one side. I think Lucian's the youngest. Sorry, Lucian, if that's not the case, but we've got a bunch of under 24s, or Kobe actually. Kobe might be from Wollongong, the youngest. But there's a bunch of under 24 players that played from Australia, and a range of them. John O'Keefe is another young guy there who I think is absolutely the future of Australian Ultimate. He's young, he's unbelievably good on offense, smart on D, and has that mongrel brought up by Tim Booth, Pats, if you remember Boofy, in Wollongong under his tutelage. So
Of course,
anyone that played under Booth will have a bit of junkyard dog
his
in
brother lives here.
him. Of
Yeah,
course he
his
does.
brother
Nice,
lives here
yeah.
at Nice. I
Yeah,
get to see
of course.
Robert Booth every now and again.
Of course. I've seen it with him. So,
Uh,
yeah, but so bunch of young guys in the team, and look, I mean, some of them are. I mean, my oldest son's 18 this year. Willem just turned 18, right? So they're pretty much the age of So it's literally almost dad status there in some ways. So look, they've been excellent. I'm conscious. I'm 20 years older than a lot of them, and they've been really accepting because I'm the odd one out, not them, right? So it's a different team. So it's probably on me to integrate with the guys. I'm a pretty relaxed guy, loves team sport and teams in general in work, in play. So far it's been great, and they've been really embracing a little banter here and there, but it goes both ways. Those that know me, I give as good as I get. So, but from that perspective, it's been really fun. A good bunch of guys. In terms of leadership, yeah, I mean, we've pretty much from the onset. So sort of Rob and Tom Tuccaki, Cupcake, Lado, Tex, they're all the sort of the leadership in there. They tend to do things. We have a great entourage apart from you as coach. We have Rob Swan as an assistant coach, and Greta, who's just had a child. So congratulations, Greta. She's not coming to Hawaii, but she'll be there later. So Greta's there. So we've got a pretty good entourage. Physio, Ben, Dill's helping us strength and conditioning. So we've got a really good coaching group around us, and the players got good on-field leadership. So from that perspective, I see my role as that more one-on-one, taking some. So I've been trying to sort of, I've been there, done that before, chat a little bit more to the players, give them confidence. Look, haven't been speaking that much in group scenarios, but I don't need to. There's enough voices around there and quite a lot of experience. And when you think about the guys I mentioned, they've had a fair few distinguished careers themselves at many, many levels. So, I think my best work will be done one-on-one with players, giving a bit of confidence around the thing. From a team perspective, we've got, as I said, a very good coaching group, some great leaders there. So if there's something that needs to be said, I'll probably say it, but very conscious that, I'm the odd one on coming into the team, and it's probably on me to integrate, and so far can't speak highly enough of the players that have embraced me.
Awesome. Looking forward to watching and seeing. Talk about so Dingoes played AOUC. They lost in the final to Philippines. How much has that team changed? How many new players? Is it the same coaching staff? Is it a very different team? Is it similar? Should we expect? Yeah, tell us what to expect comparatively.
Yeah, I'd say it's similar to different, certainly as a campaign. So I didn't play, so that was the Australian Oceanic Championships in Manila. The women won. Unfortunately, made the final and lost, as did a mixed team. So Australia performed very well. Philippines are excellent. I don't know if anyone watched it. There's footage out there, but they were excellent on home soil.
It was awesome.
Right? Philippines are great. It's interesting, though, again, on home turf, it's easy to compare your best squad. So you think about, there's probably no one that didn't put their name down for selection in Australia. When it's on your home turf, you really get to pick from everybody. So, very strong Filipino team on home ground. So that's always an advantage. So the campaign Australia had built was always a longer one. So that was part of the campaign. So certainly if you weren't on that Manila team, then you were coming off a longer run up. So there's a few players that have turned over, definitely. Myself, Tex, there's a few that have sort of come back into the fold from previous returning. There's a few new dingoes that were picked as well. But I'd say probably 15 of that sort of players are returning from Manila. A few returning dingoes. I mentioned Tex, myself, and a few others. And then a couple of new selections as well along the way. So there is definitely some momentum coming from Manila, but it is a different looking team going forward as well. So, and I think that's for all three teams, the Barramundis, all three Australian teams participate in that, and that was part of our longer campaign. We're hoping to get a few of those teams, as I said, from the Asian region to come to the Gold Coast. So anyone's listening onto the training camp, we're putting on a weekend, an invitational up in the Gold Coast for those teams to try to get some scrimmage on local conditions. I mean, for those watching, traditionally, that Gold Coast area, it's a bit of a hill. It can be a bit windy. It's amazing part of the world, the Gold Coast, but the fields are a little bit elevated. So from experience, it can, sort of pick up a little bit of stiff breeze as well. So I think it's really beneficial for any country to come along and experience that and not play there for the first time if they can.
Yeah, for sure. The Runaway Bay, I think the first time I booked that for halibut for the first time it was used for Ultimate, and it's I mean, there's windmills like you can see windmills in the back. They farm wind not far from those fields. So yeah, you're right. To teams that are invited should probably take that option if they get it. I think it'll do them a lot of good.
Exactly. So,
but
go ahead.
I'm going to keep giving you questions here, but talk a little bit about doing it on home soil. Talk to the people of the world. Right now, there's some probably a little lower team attendance than hoped for. Economically, it's tough times right now. There's still teams trying to get their shit together. Some crowdfunding operations, some last minute hope to get some more teams there. Talk about the Gold Coast a little bit. Generally speaking, how you think it will be able to host a tournament like this? What people can expect? Okay, a little bit of wind at the fields, but otherwise, I could talk a little bit about the Gold Coast, but it's your home country, Tommy. Talk up the Gold Coast a little bit.
As a previous resident, you probably do better. Look, I mean, I don't play the wind. As I said, it's just higher. But I think when people think of a Gold Coast, I mean, it's a Queensland beach. It's a great city, literally on the beach. So it's not known for its wind. It's just those fields, I guess. But if you think about Australia and the big issue of Australia, it's a long way to travel, right, as you leave. So that's probably, I think, always traditionally people coming to Australia, whether it's pleasure or anything, it's always that little tyranny of distance. It's a longer flight. So when you do, anyone that comes, I'd encourage you to do a bit of travel. Like, you've come all the way, and Gold Coast is an amazing destination, but if you get the chance to go and travel afterwards, whether you head south down towards Sydney or further north towards some of the tropical rainforests and beautiful landscape, I mean, I know there's nice beaches everywhere in the world. I'm off to Boracay next month to play there, and I hear amazing things there. But I think anyone that has been to Australia and has seen the coastline will say it's some of the most pristine, amazing coastline in the world. And I truly think that, and we're having to play a tournament right on there. It's not a beach tournament, we do, but great fields. So it's great infrastructure. Queensland weather is known for just being amazingly consistent and nice. That time of year was beautiful. So it's just a beautiful country. It's just a long way to go, and you can see a lot with it, I guess, is what I encourage. And when you travel anywhere to a tournament, you do that as well. Yeah, look, it's tough. I get it, right? I think, we're all living in this world today where it's tougher times, and you got to look, I guess, which country you're coming from. I'm about to head off to Hawaii, where the exchange rate for the US dollar isn't great in our favor. So if you're an American coming here, it helps you. But then there's other countries that perhaps doesn't work favorably against currency and things like that. But the other thing I'd say, Cats, is, why come? You don't know when your last one is. As I said, I thought 2016 we had COVID, so it's been 8 years since we've had a World Championship, right? 8 years. It's quite a long time, and who knows what's around the corner. So if you wait too long, this is lucky enough to be playing my 40s. Not everyone will be doing that. So, geez, if you have a chance to play for your country and your chosen sport, you'd grab it with both hands, wouldn't you? And just because it happens to be an extra 6 or 8 hours flying time, hey, you're going to somewhere unique and a great destination. So I think it will be harder for Europeans. It's a long flight. The North American teams will come, and it's really far for some of the South American teams. Asia, it's on their doorstep. I expect a good turnout. But, again, every team's going to have their issues. So we're probably lucky. Home country, we get to host. And, one of the unique things there as well, Pats, is, I have family and friends there. And I know a lot of the Australian players have people. So I expect a reasonable crowd there. I think a lot of not only the overseas people, but I expect some good Australian support from family and friends coming up. It's a unique opportunity to play. But yeah, I think whichever country can make it. Australia always has a few less teams, but that's the tyranny of distance. And if you come, you won't have a bad time. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, that is a easy guarantee. I will second Tom's guarantee there.
Can I just
the beach there's so good. Byron Bay, a stone throw away.
All of that. Can I just dispel one rumor though? Because I've met a few people, and maybe if you don't when you walk in the water, that you don't bump into 10 sharks. You go in a river, there's not 100 crocodiles, there's not snakes in your bed. Like we're a domesticated country. Yes, we have wild animals. You don't you go to Canada and expect to see a bear straight away. So yeah, it's a lovely country with great people, great climate and beaches. And no, we don't have animals looking to kill us around the corner every 5 minutes, which sometimes I hear. I
You're,
had a
you're
quick joke.
safe. Get on the plane.
My first Worlds in the US in '98, Pats, I had a little much younger guy there. You know, those little leather things with a shark tooth. I think it was a Mako shark little tooth. You know, the necklaces. I thought it was cool. You know, 20-year-old young kid
Yeah.
walking around, and I think one of the locals in the US goes, "Oh, you know, is that a shark tooth?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He says, "Oh," he just thought he goes, "Oh, how big? Did it get you? How big was it?" He thought I'd wrestle the shark to get the tooth, and I just ran with it. I said, "Yeah, I was fishing and I got it." So believable. It's unbelievable, right? And you can run with it. You'd be surprised. I think Crocodile Dundee changed the view of the world for a while there of Australia. So yeah, it can be quite funny.
Crikey, mate.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Okay. Awesome. Get on a plane, go to Australia. You'll love it. I was listening to Riley White did a little interview with you. I took some of that, and you're talking about you've had some favorable matchups over the years against the Japanese. I remember in 2012 you wreaked havoc on them in the semis, really in a windy game. You did get to use your big frame. I want you to tell me about over the years, whether in Australia or internationally, who you have kind of seen on the other side and been like, oh shit, this guy's on me. Have you had some defenders or some matchups that stick in your mind as being really sticky that have done you as tough as anyone?
Yeah, look, I mean, over the years, and look, you mentioned Japan early on around age. I'd be remiss of me not to sort of call out Matsumo, who's also been, I think he played for Japan again at Ajo Shinek, and I haven't quite looked. I'm sure he'll be on a Team Japan somewhere. I mean, I think for many years, I think he's definitely younger than me, but for many years when I look across the Team Japan, he's been an anchor there. So, you know, a lot of respect and credit to him. Absolutely still dangerous player and sort of defying time as well. And look, the Japan analogy, I think, in that interview, without getting into it, it's funny because Japan's a super strong country. I really respect the way they play. They've sort of created a game style that suits their unique sort of, you know, they're smaller, faster. You know, Australians tend to be bigger and taller, so you sort of play different games. And Japan's evolved a game style which is as good to take on anyone in the world, but it's unique to their style. I don't think anyone plays, and the Asian countries play different, and that's a beautiful thing about watching Worlds. The Europeans play different to the Americans. We're probably more of a US type style, sort of big ball than others, but I love watching the small ball, quick movement of Japan. So we've actually had the women's team, the Mavericks, come over for a tour recently. With Michelle Phillips bringing them over. It's just been great to have some exposure of their culture, their style. So it's been amazing. The reason I say Japan is because they're such a strong country. There's a lot of players. So one of the things the Dingoes did, they beat Japan in Asia, or so along the way they played them, and they obviously got to the final. A lot of the young Dingoes players haven't been Japan at club level or things. So because Japan's been quite good, while you know, Dingoes wasn't until, I mean, they got back to bronze last time. Well, I think in my history, never really lost against them. And a lot of these, we just play different being tall. So happened to play well against them. So as a country, that's been a good matchup for me. Individually, you know, my hardest, you know, usually what I try to do is I either got a smaller guy that's faster than me, which is always hard to then handle and get around the disc. There's many good players there. Or I've got a taller guy, I hope they're more agile around and can actually even handle. So I try to do the opposite of what my defender gives me. If he's tall and can stop me in the air, I try to use athleticism if it's there. And if they're shorter and faster, I try to take the long game. So the hardest matchups is when they're tall and athletic, of course. And there's many. The guy that probably stands out for me, which is always really, really hard, was a guy called Mike Grant, a Canadian player. A lot of respect for him. He was around early 2000s when it wasn't USA winning Worlds, it was Canada, the old Furious George team. I mean, he was really, really slightly shorter but athletic. A lot of people know him for his offense, but he did amazing things on D as well. From that perspective, you know, he sort of comes to mind when I think about.
I guess he got you there, and he got you as a master in 2012 too. He anchored that Canadian team that won gold there.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think he won. I'm trying to remember. Was it Scotland? One of the worlds. Maybe it was '04. One of the worlds. I think he had dislocated his shoulder and played worlds, and they won playing left-handed. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it was either 99
Jeez.
or '04 or 2000, but it dislocated his shoulder and thing, so still played worlds. Couldn't throw up his right hand through left-handed, and still was impactful and dominating just doing that. So yeah, amazing, amazing player. It's hard to name. I mean, you sort of go. There was a guy in you mentioned '05. There was a really good defender, Chase Sparling Beckley. He was '05 Team
Mhm.
USA, another tall, athletic guy. I remember playing with him. That was a hard matchups. Um, Even sort of Crocs. I mean, trying to play against Bo Kietrich was challenging. That guy is just so fast and throws. So I remember in 2013 and more recently the old Revolver Team USA. So yeah, there's a lot of good athletes coming out of that Team USA there, but it's usually those tall, athletic players that are hard to match against. Certainly over the years, I remember the Dutch would always produce a few good tall players around. Um, Nasser for France was very good. I remember in the days as well. There's a few of them around. So yeah, lots
Yeah.
of really good players.
He's still going too.
Yeah, yeah.
He'll be in Australia. He's playing mixed, but he's still doing it as well.
Good to see. Good to see some of the
Uh,
old guards still going around. It's not just me.
yeah. I still play one tournament a year, Gak, but I'm not gonna get selected to any of these teams you guys are getting. Talk to me. So these guys have you obviously have high respect for them. Very good players. Is there anyone in your playing days you would classify as like a nemesis, like somebody who just that has, I don't know, kind of got you, or you've been really happy to get when you've had the chance? Does anybody qualify like that, or is that not the
Jeez, yeah,
case?
yeah. Jeez, you want some scoop here? You're asking the probing questions here. It's 7 in the morning down in Australia, mate. Look, I'll
Yeah.
start on the. I'll tell you a quick funny story. So Gavin Moore, who's a really good friend of mine now, and a lot of respect for. We played together in the 2013 Crocs campaign, but we probably started playing against each other domestically. He was a great Australian player for Dingoes, Crocs, many levels, so people would know Gav locally, and he's still playing for Sunder these days locally. We would spar quite a lot, and he would defend me a lot, and we had great matchups, and it would go both ways. And he, really made you work hard. As another guy that was always a hard matchup, but it was funny how we probably had a bit of a rivalry, if you like, and playing. But then it's funny how when we played the 2013 campaign, we were picked together. I'm like, oh, great. But it's funny because once I got to know him, I realised why we'd spar, because he was actually very similar mentality to how I play, just mongrel, play to win. And what I actually disliked about him was because we're too similar in that way. And when you're in the same camp, we actually really bonded and had a great campaign. And he's had a same famous thing after we won silver. It's always hard winning. Sometimes winning bronze is better than silver because you've won your last game. Silver, you've lost the final and dare to dream. But obviously, silver's better in the long term. So, and I'm fair to say we were pretty upset when we lost the Team USA. They beat us pretty solidly in the end, but you're still disappointed. You go in there to win, and we thought on our day we could beat them, and a few tears started flowing through some of the players. And Gavin, after letting us sit in our emotions for a while, just sort of rallied the troops. There's no crying. We've just won bloody silver. Just absolutely revved us up. Said, "There's no not loud. We just won silver. Let's celebrate." And we turned the mood, and it was really nice of him. So he's a great rallier of people and a great competitor and a good mate now. That's funny how for the sort of first half of our on field it was different, but now it's a bit of a we play against each other. It's a bit of a smile and a wink and a nudge. We still enjoy scrimmaging against each other, but it's much more friendly. Yeah, look, I mean, I
Nice.
there's definitely players you talk about. We're playing a self-refereed sport and spirits. There's certain players that it's going to rile you up, and calls can do that. I've always used that as inspiration. Bad calls make me play better. I've always sort of sometimes you can be a bit sleep at the wheel going for an emotion. Someone has a bad call, you can really fire you up and um, get you going. And there's always players. I'm not going to name names for you, Pats, that probably are a bit more fidgety or pick it. And I'm certainly not Hollywood now. But you call as you see it, but that can also inspire you and get you fired up a little bit as well. Nothing like a foul call to get a bit of spice into the game. And over the years in Worlds, there's been many sort of fierce contests at team level, but most of the time, as everyone knows in the community, it's all worked out pretty well. So, um, that's and when you're on the world stage, you're trying to put an example of the sport. So I think everyone raises the limit, the level of spirit and play as well.
Awesome. Well, so that started with a question about nemesis. You kind of talked about some local derbies that turned into some good friendships and some spirit talk. But I think we'll end up going back to a bit of local. Chile is your baby, your team. You and Camby, I think, started the team. You can fill us in on the details, but won a couple championships in your early days. Have been relegated from Div 1 recently, and I think you found your way back in. Talking about Chile, I think the club's kind of getting some energy back and seems to be on the right track. Am I right?
Yeah, look, absolutely. Something by history, we sort of started the first club in Australia. Before we used to pick state level teams, so Chile was formed as a way like it's as a clubs and more about North American, and now you see it all across the world. Back there, we used to sort of play for states, so that started in 2000, so almost sort of 24 years ago. So a lot of longevity and history there. It's all run by completely different cohort. Lucky enough to still play with that team, and yeah, last year we went to regionals and South Australia. Typically there's three strong men's teams in Victoria. Heads of State, Ellipsis, and Chile, and we've always been sort of for the last 10 or so years the three premier sort of teams and all having our peaks and troughs. I think Ellipsis currently is a defending Australian champion, so they're the benchmark we're trying to chase. Hoss is very strong again and has had a lot of history in Chile as well. Last year, South Australia actually upset Hoss in the semi, which sort of threw a span in the works. Traditionally, always Ellipsis, Hoss, and Chile go. So we had to play Hoss in the go to nationals game, and we lost that one unfortunately. So we didn't actually. I mean, last year we didn't lose to anyone, but we don't be expected to. We didn't lose to South Australia, but they just happened to have a great semi-final, and that put us back to Div 2. That was really hard for the team because a lot of players there. We lost a couple of other 24s, had to go and play for other teams to get the exposure. So, yeah, we really spent 12 months hurting on that one a little bit. But, happy to say that we just came off regionals last weekend, qualified for nationals, which was great with an easy win. We had universe point games against both Ellipsis and Hoss. So we're back up there based on that exposed form, but that's not to say, that's some unbelievable. I guess there's the top 12 teams for Australia at nationals, and I don't think there's weak teams there anymore. We have New Zealand usually come over, and the thing I'd say about the Australian scene now is there used to be very clear as to, who the top teams were, and you can have some easy games. There's no more easy games than that. Everything's a challenge, which is great. And it'll be nice to be back at that level, and the club's really probably the younger cohort out of the two teams. If you think about the age gap, a lot of uni students, which is great, and I think pretty exciting as to what's coming into clubs in 2 years' time. So I think that's the aim for the boys, is to go to world clubs in 2 years. No idea what I'll be doing as part of that, coaching, playing, or watching, but it's pretty exciting. They'll want to. There's a really good cohort coming through in the right age band to really peak in a couple of years. So it's been exciting, and a good women's program as well. Yeah.
I was going to ask about that. So the women's program has been, how many years has that been going now?
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of them, all the Melbourne clubs, Hoss, Ellipsis, and Chile, have all got a women's program as well. So I think it's unique in the other parts of Australia. I'm not sure too familiar what's happening in Europe or the US, but the clubs typically you have a men's team and a women's team. We have both, and we play mixed. So probably started where Ellipsis started as a women's team and then made a mixed team. So then, it just happens to be all the Victorian clubs tend to have both. That program's been going probably about 5 years now, from where we started, as some other teams formed. It's got, Michelle Phillips has come on board and jumped on board with, really helped lead and coach them. We've had a few of those Japan Mavericks players stay on and play, and then there's our own young crop coming through. It's been difficult. A lot of the women's sort of leak to Ellipsis, in terms of, it's a bit like in Sydney, if you want to play, everyone sort of goes to play Sunder. That sort of happens to the women's scene. But yeah, you're starting to finally see a little bit of competitive tension there with sort of two Ellipsis women's teams programs, and then the women's teams qualifying and being strong as well. So yeah, it's been exciting, and again, very young cohort, and really lucky to have someone of Michelle's experience coming along and really leading those women. It's good to have some of that experience in there, but a lot of youth is where the excitement and the fun part comes from.
Exciting stuff. Good to see Chile back where they belong, I guess, back in Div 1, as far as you're concerned. We're back where they belong, I'm sure. And I think that's going to wrap it up today, Tommy. We're looking forward to seeing you at Worlds. You're making news, being the elder statesman still getting selected. I'm personally impressed. I was impressed to see it when it was breaking news. So congratulations from my seat to yours. But we will hope. First, go back and you can watch Victorian Ultimate Championships on ULTI.TV. We're going to hope that the Australian Nationals will maybe be picked up and streamed again. We'd love to be able to be on board with that for ULTI.TV to get back with AFTA.
Absolutely.
But in any case, if that's streamed, we would love to be back watching Chile and everybody else. And of course, if you're not watching Tom play, he even was commentating a couple games at the Victorian Ultimate Championship, so you can go listen to his beautiful voice as well.
Listen, not quite.
But thank you very much.
Your voice. Thanks for having me, Pats. And I always much prefer listening to yours. Much better for there. But it's going to be a great season ahead. I really encourage everyone to come down to Australia, as you said. It's a big season of Ultimate coming in, both domestic as we go nationals, but Worlds will be incredible. So thank you for what you're doing for Ultimate and everything, and hopefully see you down under. Speaking of commentating, hopefully see you with a few commentating gigs at Worlds as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. We'll see. Fingers crossed. I got to find a way to get myself there some way, somehow. But once again, to the ageless wonder, Tom Rogacki,
can
42.
I just say one last
you still got your number, of course. Still, you're
definitely.
Yeah, you can say as many last things as you like.
This is one last thing for anyone watching. Like, if there's one of the things that I've seen, and you said, why come to Australia if you're a young player wanting experience? Come down, come and play World September, and just stay on for the summer. You'll have players, whether you're in Sydney or Melbourne. I'm sure someone will billet you. I'll put you up in our house if you want to come and play Chile for a season, or we might get one of the boys and spend the summer here. That's an easy way to do it. There we go. We'll go and recruit the best players from the world that can come and stay the summer living in Melbourne with the Chile boys. And there's a plug for you. So if they can hit you up, Pats, and we'll put them up for the summer if they want to come and spend the season playing Australian Ultimate. Now, you can't tell me that's not good value for us for an Australian Championship.
Never shy to recruit Tom Rogacki, always
That's
building the teams as strong as possible. Take him up on the offer, people. If you're good enough to play Worlds, stick around, go play Chile, and you got a roof to live under, at least for a season. So go do that. Tommy, once again, you're a bloody legend, buddy. Thanks for being on, and hoping to see you soon enough.
Cheers, brother. Have a good one.
Well, great to have Tom Rogacki, an ex-teammate of mine, and been on a few teams with him. It's been a long, long time, but great conversation. Noah, you're sitting patiently, pressing buttons in the back, moving some screens around. What did you like about that interview?
Yeah, I think a great start to best perspective, a fantastic perspective from Tom, and making sure you'll get down there to Australia in 2024. Put the funds together, people. Find the extra jobs. Crack open the piggy banks, get yourself down there, and maybe you could get an extra club season as well. I thought that he was very open about the sort of role he was going to play, Stef. Like being on the O-line, that's super interesting. Still looking to be a receiver if he can, right? If you can draw the second tier matchup, as he said, go up, and he's a big boy, 6'5", 6'6". He's going to be tricky to stop. No matter how many years he has, just more experience to read the disc a little better, huh?
Yeah, if you haven't seen kind of prime Gak, go watch 2012 Master stuff. Go watch the 05 World Games. There's lists and lists of stuff you can watch him do. But yeah, that man can play, and I even watched a little bit of him play last weekend in Victoria, and for me, he's still the Gak. And yeah, sure, he's 47-year-old Gak now, but I would never underestimate what that man can do after seeing it live in full dominance too many times.
Yeah, he's going to be an absolute weapon in 2024. Could he go 2 more years? 2026? I think.
I mean,
it feels like he's tempted, Steph.
I know, but I feel like it would have to be in Australia again for him to go more. But you never know. You never know. I mean, Masters, Grandmasters. I just feel like if he's not broken, he's gonna keep going.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna see him in Sardinia sometime soon, right? Like that's just inevitable.
Yes,
for the longest named tournament in the of all time.
He does beach less, but he's going to Boracay, and that is the retirement platform. If you're not going to disc golf, beach is kind of is your easy landing, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you can keep going with the lungs, then beach is the place for you, right? And stay, keeps disc golf away for just a few more years. Man, wouldn't it be so cool to see like all of the old like pros of Ultimate go and just destroy the disc golfers just a little.
Oh yeah,
I know they're all better than us, really, but
they are. I mean, I was loving. What I really liked was just his, mentions of these guys that have been great opposition, but Matsuno and
Mike Grant,
Kittredge and Mike Grant and Chase Beckling. Chase
Sparling Beckley.
Chase Sparling Beckling. So yeah, that's a multi-hyphenated name, but yeah, he's kind of putting up a bit of a Mount Rushmore there. It's great to hear. There's always the GOAT debates. There's always who's the best now, but really, when you talk about the best of all time in a sport that's as young and as poorly documented through its history as Ultimate, like no better perspective than to get it from somebody who's been playing at the top level for 20 plus years, going to world championships and world games and pretty much every iteration of a world championship tournament. He's there, one on, one off kind of, or more or better. And I mean, I think he's one of the better perspectives you'll get for GOAT opinion.
Yeah, and what you were saying, Steph, is we're such a young sport that we kind of know that the best is yet to come, and there's going to be players there who lit up the scene in London for the U24s who hopefully are going to get down to Australia and maybe convince some of these older dudes that it's time to retire. Maybe if the 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds are really ruling the waves, we'll see if Belgium get there. We say if Germany get there. They had a fantastic campaign, double bronzes in the Open and Women's division. It's going to be a super exciting tournament, Steph. Steph, what are you doing?
Yeah.
We're going to chat to you guys in about a month and bring you another fantastic perspective, a best perspective, if you will. What have you got planned between now and then, Steph?
Yeah, between that, I mean, of course, I'm going to Lithuania. We mentioned that in the Patreon only, but I'll talk about it now. Winter Beach. I leave in a couple days. Probably by the time this is airing, I'll be in Lithuania and excited. Never been there actually this year. I've been to a tournament, a trip after a tournament, and going to a next tournament, and 3 countries I've never been to. And I see myself as a well-traveled young man. So 3 new countries is exciting. And after that, there's a little bit of a Frisbee break, but administrating and turning some cranks. I have a project that is hanging in the balance for Windmill, and I would like for that to be going ahead. That'll occupy some time if it is. And if it isn't, general marketing and administration for ULTI.TV. What about you, Noah? Anything exciting coming up?
Yeah, I mean the cranks of the regular season is beginning to turn. I'm playing some Frisbee, doing some trials. Main thing on the calendar is I've got a short trip to Ireland in March. Ireland's the place where everyone wants to be in March. Not at all jealous of Tom getting to go to Hawaii, but yeah, I'm going to be there playing with my old uni mates. A bit of Siege of Limerick, kind of one of the first European tournaments of the season, braving the conditions on like all Astro pitches. That's the only way you could possibly hold a tournament in March in Ireland. But yeah, last year the weather blessed us. I don't think it's going to be 2 times in a row. I think we're just going to go and get blown over in the wind and have a wet and fairly miserable time. But hopefully we play some Frisbee and we win some Frisbee stuff. And yeah,
That's exciting.
Yeah, and then Portugal on the horizon in March as well. If I can do a little bit of coaching on the beach, and that might actually be some better weather.
Yeah, that will definitely be better weather than Ireland.
Yeah,
Limerick. But that sounds amazing. You've got some travel north. Well, I guess west at least. Is it north from? Yeah, I guess a bit northwest to Ireland, and then some southeast going down to Portugal. You've got some good times ahead there, Nono.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Do we tell the people, the great people? Do we know who's coming on? Who is the next best perspective that we're going to get? Well, I don't know if we know. Do you know?
No, I don't have it confirmed, so we're not going to tell the people. I do have my list, and I have high confidence that this young woman who lives in Europe, who has achieved on multiple continents, will be our guest. But until she's confirmed, I'm not going to tell you. I guess you've got go ahead and guess in the comments.
Hannah Pendlebury?
Could be. Could be. I think she's still slightly more active as a player than the wonderful Hannah Pendlebury, who is clearly achieving and killing things on the mic still, and still playing and killing it. But yes, I think as a player, maybe just doing a little bit more right now.
Yeah. Okay, I'm excited for that.
Well,
I've got an idea in my head.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us on the first ever Best Perspective. We look forward to bringing this to you as a monthly installment. And for Noah Brinkworth, I've been
sign up to the Patreon. Go sign up to the Patreon.
Like and subscribe. Calls to action. Do the things. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.